Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
To the world of Saluna.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Queers and Spears presents the World of Saluna side quest, Bottom Sept. I am your modest game master, CJ, and today we jump back into the quest of the Sacred Seven. Last we left our adventurers, they had a bit of a shopping day in the new city that they found themselves in, Dornwich. A couple of our adventurers, Freya and Oriana, found themselves with some new armor and things, as well as Clickback getting himself some brand new arrows at Oriana's gifting, as with the kindness of her heart, has gifted Clickback some new arrows. While Noe, Woe, and Encina all spent some time in the apothecary, had a special request from the apothecary. Woe grabbed a bushel of different potions to use in the future, while Encina and Noe had a moment of a heart-to-heart. And after all of these things, some people decided to go and explore some new areas here in Dornwich, all before going to meet the council members later on today. And this is where we find ourselves now. You were just on your way from the apothecary over to the magic shop that was the name given to you was Fancourt's Fantastical Emporium. And as you are walking in that direction, it is not hard to miss this shop. It is a brightly colored, like deep, like a kind of like orangey yellow in color. It sticks out like a sore thumb here. It is like 2-3 stories in height, with like a bunch of signs and like props kind of like hanging out of the windows. It is like bustling with energy and people coming in and out of the doors. What would you like to do as you're approaching this shop?
I think he's gonna make his way in and browse its wares as I will.
Amazing. You enter Fancourt's Fantastical Emporium, and it is truly a wonderland of whimsy and eccentricity. It's got this multi-leveled building with just all of these different staircases that kind of cross over each other, leading up to the different levels of this store. There is tons of people in here that are like laughing and full of joy as you hear these little like trinkets and little like tiny little like bottle rockets kind of exploding, and you hear little bells and whistles going off in here. It is truly a like sight to see, and there are just crowds and crowds of people in here. Go ahead and give me a perception check for what you're looking for.
Sure. Perception. A 9.
A 9. It is quite packed in here, but you do hear this loud booming voice that's coming up from just not too far up above you. That's just like, come on, everyone, join in on the fun, as you're just kind of like surrounded by all of these different like toys and like trinkets and candies and all of these different things. Noe, you were not that far behind R to try and check up on him just to make sure that he was okay stomach-wise after, quote, raw dogging that garlic twice in the span of less than an hour. So you walk upon this shop and also see all these fantastical things and the cacophony of laughter and children just running amok here in this shop. It is packed to the brim with families and people who are buying a bunch of different little trinkets and toys and things to take home and bring a sense of wonder into their home. And you are you specifically looking for R in this moment, or are you captivated and interested in anything else within the shop?
So she is there for R, but I think upon walking into the Emporium, she hasn't quite seen anything like it. But I think the laughter and the sight of these families all happy together, they make her kind of like take a pause, and she smiles, and for a moment she kind of loses sight of what she's there for, and she remembers like when she was young, and she was pregnant with her firstborn, Janice, that she was able to go out and purchase a first toy for him, and that's the memory she's kind of like sticking with right now as she stands here. What's nearby her, like wares wise?
Wares wise, you're kind of standing not too far away from the entryway, but just a couple of feet in. There's a couple of kiosks near you. Right near you, there is actually a small like standee for something called the Charmed Companion Collection. It's a menagerie of stuffed animals and toys. And as you kind of get closer, they're all like, hello, 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 hello. They all start kind of like greeting and talking at you and over each other. These stuffed animals can talk and sing and do little simple tricks and things like that.
Oh, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi. She's like taken aback by these little strange toys. What is your name?
It's like this is like 50 stuffed animals like at once, all speaking over
like
each other,
the aliens from Toy Story.
Yeah, it's like it is, but it's like so many stuffed animals all kind of like seated on the shelf, like ready for purchase, like screaming at you like their names and what they like. It's like, you know, these are children's toys, so it's like they're like, oh, I love to play, I love to go outside, but it's like 50 conversations at once, as it's basically like being screamed at by like 50 ads all at once. On the other side of you see that there's also like an assortment of like magical pranks and things like that as well. There's tons of little things, as well as like a little trolley up ahead full of like sweets and things of that nature.
Actually, I want to kind of look at the stuffed animals again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything? So, are they various types, or are they all like teddy bears?
They're all different types of like animals that you would see out in the wilds or out in even fantastical senses. So there's things like there's like a sea monster, there's like a dragon, there's like a like bear, there is like a werewolf, and like different types of stuffed animals in all different types of varieties.
She wants to try to find if there's a goat-like creature in these talking stuffed animals.
Yes, you can see that there is what looks like a like ram goat, where the horns like curl up into each other. It's got this kind of like woolly texture fur on it. It's kind of a like bright like magenta color with kind of like a palish magenta face that kind of like makes the face kind of stick out a little bit. And it, as you kind of like go to like pick it up, and it's like, I'm chosen, as it like gets lifted up into the air.
And what is your name?
I'm Willis.
Willis. Willis, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm flying.
How would you like to come home with me, Willis?
That sounds great! Let's go! And it just
Okay.
starts kind of moving and dancing in your arm, doing a little jig.
Okay.
As you're just holding on to it.
Okay. Willis, I am going to just tuck you right here, okay? And she's going to tuck the little creature between her arm. And for...
It got dark real quick! And you can still feel the slight kind of movements of its feet as it's still kind of doing a small little dance and everything like that. As you kind of place it in between your arms, as you're kind of looking around and everything like that, the gentle squeeze of the stuffed animal kind of actually activates the magical component within the actual stuffed animals. It releases a soft smell of fresh cut grass and the sea breeze as you squeeze it. It releases a small prestidigitation smell that kind of releases a specific soothing scent to the person who is holding its desire.
Oh. Noe kind of smiles and pays no mind to it scurrying around. And she kind of pets its its fur back. And she's gonna look around the room to see if she can spot R now.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check. Are also in this moment among the cacophony of things and the winding aisles and large bookcases that seem to ever stretch up into the sky, just stacked with trinkets and knickknacks, and what you can see, what seems to be also some expensive or at least what looks like high priced value items, artifacts and really cool find items here as well. I know you're also looking for something specific, so you can give me another perception check in this moment as well.
Sounds fantastic. Ooh, 23.
23, amazing. And then Mandy, what did you get?
I rolled a 1, but I have a -1, so I got a 0. Worst roll of the night.
I've vanished into the crowd.
No, I feel like you are with the nat one bringing you down to a big old goose egg. I think you are kind of just continuously drawn to this stack of stuffed animals that seem to all have a conscience, a name, a story, something to share, and something of excitement that brings them joy to want to spread. You're just kind of sitting here thinking how do they make these things? Are they alive? Are they sentient? Do they understand these things? I think you're kind of caught up in what this is that you're kind of purchasing. I mean, it's cute as hell, and it's for sure coming home with you, that little goat, but it's also makes you think twice a little bit about what exactly is this stuffed animal. As you're looking around, you're kind of looking over these artifacts and over these high ticket value prices that you see on them. And as you're kind of looking up at the bookcases, trying to see, of course, which one is priced at the highest, you spot him, the shopkeeper, Lorenzo Fancourt himself, wearing a tall orange top hat, a long orange matching blazer that is just continuously billowing, even though there is no breeze in here, a bright purple and green jumpsuit underneath with a topped up and buttoned up collar with a very fancy bolo tie that emanates from it, with a very, very curly mustache that seems to curl up on itself, creating this little hypnotic swirl on the ends of his mustache. And he is just standing up on the balcony just above you, just kind of calling out to all of the people and patrons in his store, come on, everybody will get a chance to try all our new fantastical wares. If you would like to take a look at our artifacts, please come on up and talk to me. I would be happy to help you.
I think R would love to go talk to Lorenzo.
Absolutely. You walk up the stairs up into the second floor, around a couple twists and bends, walking past some smiling children and happy families who are here shopping together for cute little toys and trinkets and things to bring home. As you walk up to this outrageously flamboyant man, and he kind of turns around and meets your gaze with just these, like, exuberant eyes that just scream, I will sell you the shoes on my feet if you pay me money. And he looks at you like, well, hello, good sir. How can I help you? Are you interested in one of my many fine wares?
There we go. Yes, I would love to. I am very interested in your fine wares. I'm looking for something specific, though.
Absolutely. We've got many things here to meet your fancy. What are you looking for?
You see, I have a friend, and he's a bit of a daredevil, likes to push himself to the limits, basically. Do you have anything that could be considered maybe a little too dangerous for the children that are currently here?
Give me a persuasion check.
Sure. Persuasion. Good one. Yeah! Alright, so that's a natural 20 plus 7, so it's 27.
Okay.
I love this guy.
You see Lorenzo's eyes like light up, and he is with a nat 20 on persuasion. I'll roll that over as well. You look right into this man's eyes, and he is looking to make a sucker out of you. He's looking to like sell you something that could probably be really, really good, but could also be like highly, highly overpriced. This man is like very eager to sell you things, and with a nat 20 persuasion check, he's like, oh, of course, I mean, absolutely, let me take you up to the 6th floor. And he grabs your hand and kind of like whisks you away up these twisting and winding staircases up to the very top floor. There are fewer patrons and guests up here, mostly of the adult variety. These are where some of the more expensive artifacts are kept. So some of the people up here are a little bit fancier wear, less children around, and more like exclusive buyers are up in this area. And he is looking around and like, well, here we have the most expensive and the most useful of items, of course. These ones can help defeat even Bahamut herself.
I would like to inspect these items, please.
Go ahead, give me an investigation check.
Investigation?
Mm-hmm.
These are magical items. Can I use Arcana instead?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. A little bit of a buff. Okay, 15?
15. On a 15, as you're kind of looking around, and with the past like nat 20 that gave you a little bit of like insight as well into this person, that you have a little bit of an understanding of who they are already. As you're kind of looking around, he told you that these are expensive objects. And that he was not lying about 100%. These are expensive objects. You're looking around at these price tags like 1,000 gold pieces, 10,000 gold pieces for like items. And as you're kind of looking into them and casting Arcana and looking deeper into these things, they're garbage, actually. These are regular weapons, regular artifacts that seem to have paint like that's kind of chipping off of some of them, and like paper mache that seems to be falling apart in some areas when you look closer. These are not magical items.
Okay. Let's see how I want to play this. Okay. R is going to turn to him as like, these are quite wonderful wares you have here. Do you mind if I test a couple, or is there a demonstration you can provide?
Absolutely. You are welcome to test any of the items you are welcome to see. As you can see, a lot of our friends and families here that come here are test all of our objects. Everything here is, foolproof, 100% real, and very, very good. You're welcome to test out anything you may need. Go ahead, try out.
Well, thank you, Mr. I'm sorry. Are you the proprietor of this establishment?
I am. My name is Lorenzo Fancourt at your service.
Lorenzo, thank you so much. I will definitely peruse this wonderful selection that you have.
Of course. Take your time, my friend.
All right. R's gonna look around. You said the pricings range from like 1,000 to 10,000, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Is there anything for 500?
There are some things here that are for like 500, some of the smaller things. You see that there is like a wand that is up there that is got a price tag of 500 gold pieces on it. It's like a slim wand with like shimmering crystals. As you kind of like wave it around, it has like a small, it like leaves a little like trail of sparks and like little like stars in the sky as you wave it around.
R's gonna go back to Lorenzo really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna say, Lorenzo, I have a quick question. Are you in this business by yourself?
Yes, this is my business. I have curated all of these items myself. I've traveled the lands far and wide and brought all of these things back from the farthest reaches to bring a little piece of the world to this very small shop. It's just me and then, of course, my employees. But it's just me running this shop.
Well, I have a quick question if you don't mind. May we sit and discuss something if you have the time? I know a businessman like yourself could be very busy.
I suppose I have a moment to step away. Are you looking for a moment of privacy?
More like I have a proposition for you.
Well, I believe it would be rather improper to speak business in front of customers, if that's what you're implying. I would be happy to take you up to my office.
That would be wonderful.
And he kind of takes 2 steps back into the wall of where you're at right now and pulls on a book that is on one of the shelves. And a small ladder falls from the top ceiling, leading into a small attic office. He leads you up into there, and it is a small octagonal office with, enough room for 4 people to move around in here comfortably, but 4 is probably the limit on comfortability. So you coming in here and it's just being you and him, there's enough room to kind of move in here, but still a little bit of a cramped-ish space. You walk in, it is decorated to the nines with different whimsical items and like curated objects from all over the world. And he has a desk with this beautiful lamp on it, and he sits down at his desk, offers you a chair on the other side, and he's like, and now what was it you'd like to talk to me about? Are you thirsty? I do have some tea.
Oh, that would be wonderful. If you don't mind, I'd like to prepare it myself. I have a couple of items that spruce up tea for me. Let's say a little couple of herbs.
Give me a persuasion check.
Sure. Well, plus persuasion. 19.
19. Let me just. He's like, Yeah, if you brought your own tea, a traveling tea man, apparently. I would be happy to try one of your teas if you happen to brought something special. My kettle is located just over here. I've already got it boiling. All you have to do is just go ahead and plop that tea right in there.
Sure, that sounds wonderful. Ara's going to go over to prepare the tea.
Amazing.
I'm going to make sure that my back is towards Lorenzo so that he can't see what I'm doing to the tea.
Okay. Now, give me a sleight of hand check.
Sure. Ooh, you're rolling great now. Sleight of hand. 16?
16. So you are able to. Actually, before I say anything, you are able to successfully kind of continue to distract him with chatter as you have your back turned to him as you are making the tea. Go ahead and not describe, or at least give us some intel on what R is doing.
R would like to take his 2 vials of poisoned blood and mix it within his teacup.
Absolutely. So with that already rolled sleight of hand check, you pour the inky black in the infection that is like sitting on top of the blood like oil and vinegar. It is already separated in this vial that you've collected. As you pour it into his vial, it starts to kind of like curdle a little bit, like turns into little boba-like bubbles in his tea as it just kind of sits at the bottom of his cup, lurking.
R will then make sure to properly give it a spin, make sure it's nice and mixed in there, and then walk over to Lorenzo, putting one hand on his shoulder and placing the tea in front of him. And as I put my hand on his shoulder, I would like to cast Distort Value.
On the tea?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So you stir it up well, get nice and cozy up with Lorenzo, cast Distort Value on the tea. He looks at it as it's being placed down in front of him in this beautiful, dainty little cup, and he's like, "Oh my, it smells effervescent. Wherever did you get this tea from? It smells delectable. I don't think I recognize it."
I actually travel quite a bit. Currently, I'm on a quest with some fellow travelers looking for a very valuable flower. It actually is leagues better than what I have presented to you here. And I am quite interested to know what you think of the one I have now.
Oh, absolutely. I would be happy to give this one a taste. And I want a quick itty-bitty peek behind the screen for you all. I have been rolling for this guy. I've just been rolling like dog shit. And it's just not looking good for me, gang. So, as he brings this cup up to his lips and takes a deep drink of this tea, he closes his eyes to deeply intake the flavor profiles of the tea that you've made for him. And as he is kind of like looking up and enjoying the flavors like a sommelier tasting wine, you can see a little bit underneath his chin black inkiness to the veins around his throat as he swallows.
Fantastic. R is going to continue explaining the journey that he's currently on, looking for a magical flower that is actually said to produce healing tea just from the dew that comes from its petals.
I believe that sounds fairly similar to Nuna's Grace, if I'm not incorrect.
You are not. It's quite a wonderful, magical feat. And I am quite interested if you would be, or if I'm questioning if you would be interested in maybe financing my group in this little trip. Of course, we would be giving you some profits about any treasure we come across along the way.
You know, I have lots of treasures around me. I believe a greater treasure I would be happy to finance, but I believe a greater treasure to me would be one of the petals from this flower. I could do many wonderful things with it.
That could be arranged.
He happily agrees to the thought of him getting a petal in return for a few thousand gold. He places down a pouch with 3,000 gold in it, and he's like, "This is for you and your party of 7. Apparently, I thought that this flower was in the hands of the king and queen in Lenloch. Apparently, it's gone missing now since you're on a quest for it, so any opportunity to get a petal of this flower for myself is greatly appreciated, and I hope that this money goes a long way for you and your companions."
That would be great. I would suggest to not let people know, as there is some discourse within the royal house.
Good eye. A businessman understands a businessman, and he gives you, like, a very obvious wink.
Well, thank you for your discretion, and I hope we meet again fairly soon. I will make sure to visit you before I leave this city and continue on the journey to fetch us quite a nice profit.
I look forward to seeing you again before you head out on your journey. Do stop by at any time, and feel free to take your time and browse our wares before you leave.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. And R will get up and make his way out.
And as you are making your way out after a successful shopping trip, on your way out, you run into Noe, who is standing in front of this standee of talking stuffed animals, just kind of having a conversation with each one of them.
Ooh. R is going to make his way over to Noe and say, my queen, how are you? I did not know that you followed me to this wondrous emporium.
Just the one I wanted to see. Yeah, I figured you could use the company, but you seem to have gotten past me. I have to apologize, that was mostly my fault.
No, please, my liege, it's nothing to trouble yourself over. It is quite packed with patrons, and it seems that you have discovered quite a little bit of treasure on your own. What is it that you have under your arm?
R meets Willis. She's gonna hold out the little goat toward him.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Willis. It's this like bright magenta, like stuffed creature.
R is going to try and grab its hands, like, it's a pleasure to meet you, Willis.
It actively shakes your hands back with both of its hands. It's like an anthropomorphic stuffed animal. It moves and talks, and it just is like, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I'm meeting new friends every single day, and I'm gonna have a home.
Before we take off, the longer I look at Willis, how would you like to have a friend, at least for right now, Willis?
Yeah, absolutely. I love friends. More friends is great.
Okay. Holding this little goat, it just something about its innocence and its excitement. It's making her homesick. And it reminds her of her own children. And standing there and looking at the other animals, she thinks of something. And can we try to find a little bird like one?
Yeah, absolutely. You find one that's kind of like it's very like kiwi bird in shape, so it's like a like big brown body with kind of like a long neck and a little head on top of it, and like little wedge feet on the bottom, and it kind of like flaps its wings, and it's like, I knew I'd fly one day.
What is your name? And she's kind of smiling at R, then back at the little bird.
The bird looks at you and it's like, my name is Ari.
It's Ari?
Yeah.
Okay, Ari. How would you like to come with us?
That sounds great.
You will be a gift for somebody. Are you okay with that?
Oh, that sounds great. More friends.
Okay, wonderful. And she looks at R and she goes, would you like one as well?
That is quite all right, my lady. Is that bird one meant for our Kenku friend?
I thought he would appreciate it. I can't say I know much of him, but I do know the loneliness he must feel. I think Ari would feel some attachment to him. Would you like a new friend, Ari?
Absolutely! More friends! Yay!
It is lovely.
Okay.
It is lovely to see a parent recognize the pain of separation in another.
Do you speak from experience as well?
Quite a bit, I'd hate to admit. But it seems that our Kenku friend is still getting letters from their home, so I'm sure that he is keeping in touch with his offspring.
I hope so. And her gaze turns curious. And perhaps the reason she did follow R here, we haven't really gotten the chance to talk. I can't say I know much about you yet, but are you missing people from home as well?
Unfortunately, my lady, there is no one at home to miss. There was quite a sad happening within your kingdom. I'm sure you wouldn't even remember.
Try
What?
me.
No, my lady, it's no need to dwell on the past. I am now here with all of you, searching for a way to better your kingdom.
Well, I will not push, but know this. If there is something my kingdom has done to wrong you, there is never a wrong time to discuss that.
R's face grows solemn. And he's just going to say, how aware are you of what happens in your kingdom?
Not as aware as I should be, as of late.
It is quite a shame that your husband and his lapdog are unattended.
She almost goes to, defend him, much like she would if Freya were to say something out of turn, just from the sheer amount of time she spent as queen and having to be by her husband's side, but she also at the same time agrees on some level. We are not perfect. The king is not perfect. I am here with you all to get back to what needs to be. And if there's a way to remedy stuff in the future, that's harmed you and others in the past. I want to learn. And I would be open to you helping teach me, if we're okay.
I'm sorry to say, my lady, but there is no fixing what has been done.
Perhaps not. But if there's a way to prevent it happening to others, whatever that may be, I would like to do that. And I am sorry.
Lady, you have made many promises on this journey to many a people, offering aid to, let's say, recompense for the wrongs of your husband. But words are just that, words. If you want to prove to me your sincerity, R is going to put his hand on one of his branch antlers and break it off. And as blood starts coming out of the now broken antler, he puts it out in his hand to Noe and says, "Hold this at night when the moon is at its highest, and you get to see, or more likely hear, a little bit of the wrongs I've experienced."
Her gaze hardens at the blood rushing down his hand. And her mind is made up, and she reaches her hand out and she grasps it in his hand, and she holds on to it. My actions are all I have right now. If this is what you need to be heard, I will do it.
I look forward to our next conversation, my queen. If you don't mind, I would like to rejoin the others at the potion shop. I think my special order might be ready.
I will not keep you any longer. Let us go back.
Well, let us first pay for those lovely trinkets you have in your hand.
Yes, of course. And for the record, I did pay for those herbs earlier as well. I am not one to just walk out. Yes.
I do not doubt you.
Well, you did say that you doubted my words, but pay attention to my actions, yes? And then she'll go and pay for the little animals.
Bar is just going to be busy trying to staunch the blood coming down his tongue.
Yeah, she's got fully blood on her hand right now from like there's kids around and they're like screaming.
Yeah, these kids are like, they'll take a moment to be like, oh god, blood, but then there's like something will like magically will happen off in the corner and they'll be distracted again as you pay for your little pieces and head out of the shop together. Freya, you had decided to, when there was a moment, to try and slip away for a moment alone. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to do while you were alone?
I think Freya goes. He doesn't know exactly where they are. But his best guess would to go to the place that they're going to anyway.
To go off to the
council
towards
building.
The council building. Yes, you start heading down the main road towards the large domed, like pristine building with a large winged horse on the top. And you start kind of heading off in that general direction. You arrive well before your party, and you start to see a beautiful, like, sprawling, industrial, like, interior of this building. There is, like, ever-changing, like, chairs with, like, pieces of, like, trees and branches and shrubbery that is actually growing here on the floor between the cracks of the stone. It looks truly like nature and this building were built together in mind. As you kind of like sit here and wonder, you pick up your potions, which are completed from the apothecary shop, and then Noe, Woe, and Encina. Is there anything else that you would like to do before heading towards the council center?
I'm good to go.
Amazing. And then Oriana and Click-Clack, I believe we had one last stop off at a music shop that you wanted to go and see. Down on on that main stretch of road, as you're kind of like observing some of the shops, and you see some of your fellow companions starting to kind of like head off in the general direction of the council center. You see this beautiful music shop that has all sorts of like wonderful instruments and things inside. There's like this beautiful like melodious music that is coming from within. Is there anything that you're looking for in particular at the music shop?
So I think Oriana, given her what she can play, I think would be looking for maybe just maybe a viol, which is basically just a violin or a fiddle, or maybe a new lute. I know she's also looking for maybe some magically imbued instruments. That's more of the realm she's looking for here, especially in the lute-esque department.
Absolutely. So you are looking around at all of these different wares here, and you are looking specifically for like magically imbued weapons, and you see that there is a lute that is magically imbued. It is about 500 gold pieces. But what it will do is when you play this lute, each creature that hears the lute must succeed a DC 15 wisdom saving throw or take 2d4 psychic damage.
Oh, that's very tempting. Okay. I think she'll definitely pick that up and carry it around. And then I think she's also... I'm going to send you a quick message.
Absolutely. Click-Clack, you are also here within this music shop, kind of like looking around, seeing these different musical instruments as they are like playing themselves and playing this beautiful like harmony and chorus of music. How are you feeling as you're walking through these through this shop?
Click-Clack isn't really used to musical instruments. Living how he has, especially the last couple years with his son. You don't really carry things with you that make a lot of noise when you're trying to hide. So he's honestly a little overwhelmed. And he might actually step outside the shop again after being in there for a few minutes.
You take in all of these sights and sounds and find yourselves feeling like you need more of a moment of fresh air, stepping outside and kind of like taking in the sights and the sounds. This place is very strange for Click-Clack, as someone who has like lived out in the forest pretty much for their entire existence. A place that is both structure and city, but also nature and forest, is very off-putting for you. It's like it feels like it is all done with respect. Like the nature has not been disrespected here. You feel like it has not been like, chopped down to make room for things. It looks like it has been incorporated, but this is something new that Click has that Click has noticed as he's walking through these streets and enjoying the sights of Dornwich. And then, Oriana, you can also find those other couple of items that you messaged me here as well. Your grand total for everything is going to be 650 gold pieces for the loot and then the 2 other items that you messaged me about.
Okay. Is there a way she can maybe persuade them to maybe knock about 100 off just for funsies?
Yes, go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Okay. That is going to be a 18.
An 18. You are able to barter with the shopkeeper here, and he knocked 150 off. You beat his roll by a substantial amount. So it brings you from 650 to 500 flat.
500 flat. Love the sound of that.
Perfect. So you grab your items and rejoin Click Clack outside, and then you all head off towards the city council. You first people to get there, both Noe, R, Woe, and Encina. You see Freya is already here, and then shortly after is joined by Oriana and Click Clack. As you look in these halls, you can hear the echoed steps of the footsteps and the creaking of the rails as people are making their way around to do important business work here. There is nature that all around, trees and shrubberies and butterflies flying throughout the air and landing on different flowers and things that are in here. And as you all start to join together, and regroup as a group, you see out of the corner of your eyes, like a bright light is being shined at you all. And as you turn your faces to look to see where this light is coming from, it is actually emanating from a person. You all turn to see Chancellor Xavier Source Spirit with this very vibrant, bright yellow summer Eladrin with big, broad shoulders, standing at 6 feet tall, long, down pointed ears, and like a crop of fire red hair on top of his head, with blazing yellow eyes as he stares deep into all of you. He approaches you all, and he's like, well, aren't you all a sortly group? I am Chancellor Xavier Source Spirit, and he does a very small little bow to you all. And he's like, it is a pleasure to see you all. Come, join us in the council room. And he kind of leads and guides you into a small room that is off to the sides. As you're kind of like passing through these halls, being led to a room in which all of the council members usually sit and convene. Everybody go ahead and give me a perception check really quick.
That's a dirty 20 from Freya.
Beautiful.
I also have a question.
Uh-huh.
Even though he said his name before he walked up, I could tell who this was. Right? He looks like them.
There is a
nat 20.
Oh, nat 20. Amazing from Click Clack.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, there is a striking resemblance, Freya, in the facial structure.
Okay. Freya's now freaking out a little bit.
Oriana got a dirty 21.
Dirty 21.
The queen got a very dirty 8.
A dirty 8.
That's a confident 8, and I got a
A
15.
filthy.
A filthy confident 8 and a 15. Amazing. Who else? Awesome. I
Got
think
a 14.
14 from Encina. Love it. So as you guys are kind of walking down, you see these beautiful like portraits and pictures and plaques that are up on the walls. People in very important business suits of all different shapes and sizes and ethnicities walking these halls. As you are led into a back room, you are greeted by 2 guards who open up the door. And as the doors swing open and you're greeted by 6 individuals, you are greeted by a gnomish person, a dwarvish person, a human person, a half elf person, an orc person, and an Aarakocra person. And all these people are nicely dressed and kind of sitting amongst themselves here in this kind of like lounged area. As these all very well-to-do people seem of importance, you can only assume that these are council members. As you kind of walk in, and as you walk in, Oriana, you clock that actually one of the guards is Jezar. And as you're walking in, you all kind of like get cozy. There's like a fireplace off, like kind of in the back of the room. As you're kind of like making yourself comfortable, the guards kind of step into the room and close the doors behind them. And you are just greeted. There's a couple of other people kind of here in the room as well. They seem like guards and stuff. Some of them have like helms and things on, so you can't quite make their faces out, as this Chancellor Xavier sits down at a large chair, kind of not quite in the middle of the room, but quite placed near the fireplace, and motions for you all to come closer.
CJ, before we get in the room, can Freya have taken Vitor out of his pocket and told him to go find them?
Yes, you can do that if you'd like.
Okay. Then he'll move closer when told to move closer.
Perfect. So you send Vitor off to go and locate this person that you had a dream of. Vitor kind of like runs around the room and kind of like checks out all of the corners of this room. Kind of goes and sniffs all of the people in the room and kind of like scurries along their feet, and then rejoins you back and crawls up your leg and back into your coat.
Okay.
And as you all kind of like gather in and get closer, and he's like, well, so the prophecy has finally reared its head. I am very happy to see you, and of course your cause is a very noble one. I assume you know at least some pieces of information about where you're going and what you're doing this for, and I'm sure since your journey from Lenlock to here, you have run into some issues with what is happening in our world. Have you not?
You mean the blight?
We call it more of an infection, a disease, a poison.
Yes, we've had experience with it.
We did see
Very
some
sorry
evidence
you
of
have-
it.
Go ahead.
We did see some evidence of it along your borders.
Yes, we did. It is always ever present in our lives. It's not something that we can fully eradicate. We don't necessarily have the power to do so. All we can do is help our people and help the people around us in neighboring cities, offering aid and food as we can, and continuing to heal those who are sick and work with what the land gives us. And if that land is corrupt, then we work with what we have.
What?
If-
Sorry, Ariana. You can.
No, you're okay. Counselors, I just wanted to ask, I know you're doing the best you can to aid your city, but what are you doing to help Fort Jan in the process? They are, if I may say, in dire condition and in great need of assistance. I know you're doing all you can here, but we need to also focus on aiding each other and doing what we can to eliminate this.
You see one of the other council members. The little druid stands up. She's not the she is a druid, but she's a gnome druid. Her name is Zara. She stands and she's like, "We are actually doing quite a lot for our neighboring cities around here, including Fort Jen. We have quite the agricultural system here set up, and we continuously provide aid and food and things to all of the neighboring cities here, including Fort Jan.
But
try our
is there
best.
someone helping
Can-
you?
Can I roll an insight check on that, CJ?
Absolutely.
I as well, because I don't
Okay.
trust
I don't either.
that's a bunch of bull, because we just left there.
Oh, that's a nat 20. Oh my god.
I was gonna say I got an 18 on mine.
Hey, I got a 23. Not a nat 20 though, but I got a 23.
Incredible.
I just
So-
about shit myself.
You're just like, yes, I needed this.
I don't
And
trust
see
this
this-
bitch.
I don't. And Sita
trust
doesn't
her.
trust authority.
Oriana doesn't either. She may be a part of it, but she ain't trusting it.
She don't trust it. So she, as you guys kind of look deeper into what she's saying, she is genuine in her words. They do offer food, aid, medicine, anything that other neighboring cities may need. She, this druid is she represents the city's agricultural interests, so she can really truly only speak on the food. But as you're kind of looking around, especially on a nat 20, all of the other council members all kind of start piping in about what they contribute to kind of help some of the neighboring cities. And you all get the sense of genuineness coming from these council members. But what you're sensing is that Dornwich, and from what you could see before you even stepped into the council area, is heavily populated. This has got a ton of people here. Maybe 50,000, 60,000 people in this city alone. It is a ton of people that they also need to look after all of these people as well. So it's not that they're giving the extras to all of the other neighboring cities, but they are offering truly all they can to the other neighboring cities.
I think as that kind of comes across our brains, that's when Freya kind of sits there and goes, "It's amazing that you're helping all of your neighboring cities, but who helps you when you run out?"
They kind of looks amongst each other, and he's like, well, nobody really. We really rely on ourselves and rely on our scientists to continue to break down the organic components around us to try and provide for our people. We do our best, and we have been, not necessarily floating and not necessarily soaring either, by and continuously growing over these past at least decade. We have been supporting our people and those around us as well, but we are not receiving any aid from anybody. And the council members all kind of like get quiet amongst themselves for a moment before the chancellor speaks up. He's like, we are not the capital here in Cald, if you are aware. Dornwich is not the capital. We should not be responsible for the welfare of all of our neighboring cities, but yet we are. Cald is the capital, and Cald has done nothing to help its people, so we've stepped up as much as we can to keep Puppet alive and strong, and also keep its integrity in place.
Unfortunately, that is a popular thing with capitals.
All right. Well, since we're here, what do y'all know, and what can we do for you? I guess is really the bottom line.
Well, I will offer you all of the information that I have on the knowledge that we've learned from doing our own research on this infection, as well as what we've learned about incorporating our lives with the wild. I can tell you all that you need to know about Cald and, the journey ahead of you and anything of that nature. And I don't really need much from you all. The only thing, and he starts to kind of hesitate a little bit, the city that you are destined to reach after your stay here in Dornwich, Tarnstead, is a town that we send aid to quite frequently, and we usually send small, carriages out with like aid and food and things of that nature. We have not really seen much activity in the town recently, and we've been trying to get a hold of the capital members there that we keep in contact with and who you're supposed to be meeting with after your day here. But we have not been able to reach them within the past 2 weeks. If you wouldn't mind, just when you get there, just sending a letter back of the situation in Tarnstead, just letting us know that the head of state there is still intact and everything is well there. We continuously send food and aid, and we have been, and we've sent scouts, but we can only send so many scouts out there, and also have, some of them not return before we realize that we are losing more men than we can afford.
That makes sense. Weird question. Have you noticed any suspicious activity down there in Tarnstead? Aside from your messengers and the general silence you've been hearing, have you had any issues with that before?
No, we've never had villages go quiet on us before. We do usually have issues with cultists in the areas. They tend to like to change locations from time to time. But we haven't heard a lot of activity from them recently. But, they're always going to be a threat here in Puppet. And I don't believe they're too much of a threat, but a threat nonetheless.
Encina's voice gets very, very low, and at the mention of cultists, and she says, you said something about cultists. Have you heard something in the winds, in the works? Is there anything to know about that?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask as well. And if you wouldn't mind telling us a bit more about them, if you don't care to, what they are culting around.
Yes, we don't quite know too much information about the inner workings of this cult. We mostly keep tabs on them because they tend to lash out at anybody who comes close by. So we just kind of tend to keep tabs on their location just to keep our carriers safe as they deliver goods to nearby towns, to kind of give them alternative routes to avoid wherever these cultists may have been spotted last. I would say the only point of contention is that we haven't been able to get a precise location. We haven't seen a lot of movement from the cultists. It's a lot of finding out where they are located is based on their movements and spottings. We haven't had any spottings in the past 3 weeks, so it's kind of maybe they're deeper in the forest or somewhere, but we're still keeping an eye out at every turn for them. But they are quite dangerous. But we just haven't been able to figure out their exact location for the past 3 weeks.
Mountains. And Cena says very suddenly, almost to herself, they like to be up in the mountains. Some of them.
He kind of like nods at this, like knowing like the patterns that the cultists will take sometimes of like hiking up into the mountains during the summertime to get away from like the muggy heat of the jungle. And they kind of like nod and like, yes, but we would just love to, if you would just send us a letter back to just ensure that our, neighbors are safe and sound. That is the only thing that we would ask of you. But of course, you are our guests here. We would love to show you to your accommodations. We would love to show you to we have bathrooms with every room, like hot showers, anything that you may need to prepare yourself for your journeys ahead. We have that and readily available for you.
And Cena nods and says, well, that's very generous. And of course, when we get to the next town over, we'll let you know what the situation is. I think that's the least we could do, given you're showing us such hospitality after all, and giving us what information you can, and doing as much as you're doing for your neighboring cities when it's not even your job. So that's the least we could do, is give you a status report. And anyone who is looking at Encina can see that she is not well.
Yeah, it is no need for insight on anyone's part. I'm sure it is clear on Encina's face to everybody that the talk of cultists and their activities has gotten Encina feeling some type of way. And go ahead.
I feel like Freya is standing next to, but a little bit behind Encina, because like she's the only one that matches his size.
Yeah.
But also she's bigger than him, so he can hide behind her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he is nervous being here. He's been off since Fort Jan, but he's nervous being here for specific reasons. But I think he sees how Encina is reacting, and I think he just places a hand on her shoulder to let her know that he's there.
Encina at first jumps a little bit at the contact because she is very lost in her own thoughts. But when the initial fright and shock and panic wears off, and they notice that it's Freya that's there offering a hand, Encina looks at Freya, nods a little bit, and doesn't move his hand, but also doesn't do anything else besides acknowledge that he's there. Just silently saying, this is okay, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think I think just naturally, once you acknowledge it, he moves his hand. Like, it was just a subtle gesture, not like a "I'm gonna keep my hand here," but like, but like a you have comrades here. You're not alone.
Yeah. And I think Encina definitely appreciates that.
And I think Freya then looks at the Chancellor and is like, "Well, I think my friends and I may need some rest. It's been quite weary travel, and I think my comrades and I have earned a comfortable rest."
He looks at you and he's like, absolutely. I would be happy to make sure that you are seen to your rooms and your accommodation. We can talk all of the business tomorrow. I do, however, I want to make sure that you make yourselves comfortable for the rest of the evening. Enjoy. We have lots of feasts with all of the foods that you could possibly imagine. We have any drinks that you may need and anything that you could ask for. If you need tailoring to your clothes, if anything has happened on your journey, we can have them fixed for you before tomorrow. My son here will show you to your rooms. And you watch as one of the guards steps out from the side, removes his helm. You see this dark navy blue Eladrin with specks of stars across his face and going down his arms and across his chest, with this fuzzy dark navy blue, almost black hair that kind of just patches and sits on top of his head as he approaches, and he's like, "Yes, father, I will see to it." And he turns to all of you and he is like, "Right this way," and leads you all down and out of the room, away from the council members, and up a couple of flights of stairs to your own personal accommodations. You each get your own rooms. They all have bathrooms attached to them with big, beautiful clawfoot tubs, beautiful showers as well that just are like rainfall showers. So the actual nozzle is coming out of the ceiling with eucalyptus that is hanging off of the sides as well. So you get this beautiful oily
I have to eat those
sensation of you eat some eucalyptus, and you all get to enjoy this beautiful serenity as you all kind of sit down for the night and relax in a wonderfully cushiony, comfy room and accommodations for the first time in a couple of days. The mushroom was nice. Let's be honest, it was nice, but it's not like it is right now. Beautiful, fluffy, plush pillows, and just anything that you could ask for in this moment. You are all treated like you were back in Lunlock, just like heroes, like you are all supposed to be.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a balcony?
There is.
Attached to my room?
Yes. So there is, you are all kind of alongside the edges of this place. So there's all personal balconies connected to each of your rooms, so you can enjoy the night sky and everything along those lines as well.
Okay. I think Freya washes up and then goes out onto the balcony. And if I'm not mistaken, Freya learned to whistle a certain tune in his dream, I believe.
He did.
I think Freya whistles that tune when he's out on the balcony.
You whistle out into the open air, hearing the wind carry your voice off into the distance as it is quickly enveloped by the sounds of those winds and the rustling of the trees around you, the leaves dancing together as the moonlight shines upon it. You don't see the creature that you called to. Give me a perception check.
That is a 18.
18. As you are enjoying the views out here in the balcony, underneath the stars, looking out onto the treetops, out in the distance that kind of clash with the city next to you, you kind of get lost in thought and lost in the sights that you don't realize that there is another person in the room with you. As you feel a tap on your shoulder behind you, and then a hand cover your mouth so that you don't scream.
I think Freya instinctively bites the hand.
Roll an unarmed attack.
Okay.
Or just the damage, because you're right on it, so no need to hit.
I mean, that would have been a 21 anyway. So that's a... what's my unarmed? Oh, that's just 4 damage. I don't have a die for my unarmed.
So you bite into the hand, you hear a "yeah" as he like quickly pulls their hand away, and you turn around to see Xander as they're grabbing their hand, and he's like, "I am so sorry, I was trying to be sneaky and I failed so bad."
No, you were sneaky. It's just... I'm sorry, And he's kind of like covering his face with his hands.
Xander quickly comes over and removes your hands from your face and takes them within theirs and looks at you, and he's like, hey, no, it's my fault. I put my hand right where your mouth was. I was kind of asking for it. Now, keep your voice down. The night is young. We have to go now. And he like grabs you and starts like pulling you out the door.
Where are we going?
You'll see. We just have to go. Let's go. And he's like pulling you down the hall and down and out. Do you follow him willingly?
I think even though my face is bright red and my heart is thumping, yes.
You follow along as they tug you down and down flight steps and kind of out of a side window and down a trellis that is just covered in this like mossy, viney, like green vines as you just climb down and you reach these stables that are down on the side. You come across this dragon that you saw in your dreams, this beautiful, iridescent, shiny, silvery, playful, silly dragon that you recognize as Indy. And he walks over and unlatches the latch as Indy comes out and does a big old stretch and puts his arms out in front of him and stretches his hinds out and stretches his wings all the way out as his tail kind of sticks straight up in the air, getting a full stretch in.
I think at this moment, Freya remembers the flowers in his pocket. And I think nervously he's grabbing them and kind of holding them. Like not like really like holding them out to Xander, but like holding them because he's never done this before. He doesn't know what to do in this moment, and he's so incredibly nervous, and he's also so incredibly off because of how he's been feeling. And he's just like, I remember your flowers, the Prince's Secret. I learned that from Woe.
He kind of finishes like saddling up Indy with this beautiful, intricate, like deep leather saddle that beautifully is fit on top of Indy, and turns back over to you. You see this moment where the stars in his cheek kind of flutter with this red-orange light as he kind of looks at you, looks down at the flowers, and then looks back up at you, smiles a little bit, kind of walks up, takes one of the princess secrets out from your little bundle, kind of sticks it between the branches, the horns that come out of his head, holds his hand out to you, and he's like, "Are you ready?"
Do we want honesty or?
Always.
No, but I'm learning I can't be ready for everything.
It'll be better once we're up there. He grabs you and with quite a bit of strength kind of helps you up onto Indy as he sits directly in front of you. You instinctively grab around their waist as he yells and kind of sticks his heel into Indy gently as you both take off into the sky, seeing the deep purpley and green mixing on the tops of the canopies as the wind and the clouds brush against your cheeks and between the fur on your hair, as you just feel the wind beneath you as you and Xander take to the skies.
I think as we're going up, I think Freya instinctively tucks his face into Xander's shoulder out of fear. He's never flown before. He's very used to being on the ground. Even though Valiant's Peak can be very high up, and the balconies, he's kind of comfortable there. This is different.
As you bury your face a little bit into his back, into their back, you grab on tight at the feeling of the uncertainty of being up in the air. All of these feelings, these emotions are clashing within you. This uncertainty, this nervousness, this anxiousness, and another couple of feelings that are just new to you. This undiscovered feeling, this hot, red, burning, this feeling of wanting to throw up, but nothing's coming up. This wallowing in your throat, like you want to just tell this person everything, as you're just burying yourself into their shoulder, grabbing on, feel their arm wrap around you from behind and hold you close to them. You feel safe.
I think Freya's head goes from being tucked into his shoulder to where he can't see anything to leaning on his shoulder to where he can see everything. And I think...
Go ahead.
I think as he does this, his face goes solemn for a moment, and he goes, I almost died for the first time yesterday, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, you're here now, aren't you?
Yes.
I feel like that's what's more important than you almost being dead yesterday.
I guess.
Kaivalya has a time for all of us. But we should enjoy the time we have before he calls our name. And as you look out, you start to see that you're cresting up and over the clouds. You finally reach a point where you break through that cloud layer, and there's nothing but a sea of white underneath you, lit up by the illumination of the moon. That's your only source of light here, is that bright, bright white light in the sky. With little dots of stars around the sky that adorn the sky, just like the stars on Xander's face adorn his face and his bright yellow eyes that just shine in this light. There's nothing but a sea of midnight sky and shimmering lights, and you and Xander and Indy.
Freya takes in everything. And though he's up here with Xander, and that's the most freedom he's ever felt and ever experienced, and these feelings are new and confusing, the one thought going through his head is, I wonder how everyone else would feel experiencing this. And he tries to picture everyone else in this experience. And the last one he comes to is his mother. And he can only imagine the joy and laughter that she would feel on this. And it's a brave question, but I think he turns around and, not like turns around, but like he comes out of the thought and is like, I hate to interrupt our adventure, but would you want to meet my mother?
I would love to meet her, but I believe we'll have plenty of time to get to know each other tomorrow.
Yes. Also,
The
she'd
night
be
is
very
here.
surprised with Indy on her balcony.
Yes, I'm sure she would probably get quite the fright from a large dragon perched up on her balcony. Yes.
Yes.
And he kind of chuckles to himself, and he's like, now we'll do all of the introductions tomorrow after a full night's rest, and we still have some time for some fun.
Yes.
He is like, now hang on tight, and he dives with Indy into the clouds, kind of swirling and twisting in the air as it plunges deeper and deeper and further towards the ground as a sudden quick change, and you're just now gliding along the floor between and kind of missing all of these trees and dodging and weaving in between all of these trees as you soar off into this night with Xander and Indy, enjoying this moment, enjoying the freedom of all of these emotions that come to you as everyone gets a full night's rest, a well-deserved shower, a fulfilling meal, and have lots of little interactions to do tomorrow as they travel towards Tarnstead. And this is where we're going to end our session. Thank you all so much for listening in. I had so much fun with this episode and going and seeing all the little things and getting into all types of trouble. We are just about halfway through this campaign. We have 16 episodes of this campaign. This is episode 8. We have still so much left to go and still so many discoveries left to uncover. And still, is it going to go up from here or is it not? I guess we'll find out. Derek, why don't we tell these fine people where they can find these episodes?
Yeah, don't mind me while I'm actually crying. You can find us on anywhere that you find your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Music, Samsung Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a whole bunch more. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We also have a Facebook page, though we don't use it very often. And you can find our first campaign, every single recorded episode on our YouTube, all within a link tree that is attached to all of our socials. And we have some fun stuff coming up. I can't wait for you guys to be able to experience the rest of our characters opening up and growing with the world. Thanks for being a part of this, as our listeners and viewers are just as much of the family as us here in the cast and crew. And I can't wait to see where we go and what we do and the stories that we tell, because this is only the second chapter in the book that is QNS, The World of Saluno. So
and I hope
we'll
you
see
guys
you guys
all
next week.
See you all next week. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.